Hello, on behalf of the Mindalia TV team, welcome to Mindalia live streaming. Once again, today we're being joined by Dan Blanchard. Dan Blanchard is a speaker, writer, award-winning author, and educator. He's going to be having a very interesting conversation with Mary K. Savarese. She is also a published author and a Eucharistic minister. Before starting with Dan and Mary K., we want to remind you that Mindalia is an international nonprofit organization and that you can collaborate with us just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment, or sharing this program with someone that you know that can benefit about the content that we're going to be talking today. We have nothing else to say by now. We're not going to delay this any further. I have the great pleasure of introducing and leaving you with Dan Blanchard and Mary K. Guys, welcome to Mindalia. How are you?
Oh, and it's good to see you again, Mirna, and the wonderful Mindalia audience. I always love to be around them. So I can't wait for the Mindalia audience to meet my good friend Mary, who comes all the way from Connecticut or Florida, depending on what time of the year it is. As the audience has already heard, Mary is a Eucharist minister, which is definitely very cool. She's an award-winning author, speaker, takes after my own heart, and she's actually an APPS member, which is an Association of Publishers for Special Sales. It's an international organization for independent authors and publishers. So Mary's definitely got it going on, no doubt about it. She's one of those shakers and movers, and this shaker mover even likes to visit nursing homes. So how cool is that? Mary, welcome to the show. I know I've just kind of like scratched the tip of the iceberg on who you are and the great stuff you're doing, hoping that you can help our Mindalia audience understand you a little bit better. Maybe you can fill in some of the gaps or elaborate a little bit more on something that I've said. Welcome to the show again.
Thank you so much, Dan, Myrna, and Mindalia TV. I am so excited to be here with you today. Thank you for that wonderful introduction and for allowing me to share my passions as an author and a Eucharistic minister. Where would you like me to start? As a Eucharistic minister, or?
Yeah, I mean, not everybody wakes up and becomes like an award-winning author, speaker, and minister. So what was your journey a little bit like, Mary? Maybe give hope for other people that maybe want to do big things in their life down the road.
Well, let me begin with being a Eucharistic minister. It is very much an honor and a privilege, and it is truly a ministry of love. And I began as a Eucharistic minister a decade ago. And this is through my parish church. And as a Eucharistic minister, we assist priests in distributing the Eucharist, the Holy Communion. And one of the other facets, as I mentioned, a ministry of love, is to visit nursing homes and shut-ins.
Cool. Yep.
And it is such a wonderful, wonderful experience to meet with the elderly and to hold their hand and to share their life stories. Very much that has helped me in my writings as well, and to bring them the Holy Communion.
Yeah, I know we've had another guest on in the past, Mary, who when we had this conversation about sharing your time with the elderly, we came upon this phrase called the Gatekeepers of Wisdom, and that you'd be foolish not to be spending some time with the Gatekeepers of Wisdom in one way or another. Whether you're distributing them the Eucharist or you're visiting them at the the hospitals or nursing homes or wherever you're going, but it would be foolish not to spend some time with them. And it seems like you kind of fall in that camp.
Absolutely. They are filled with wisdom and joy. And as you said, that wisdom, and there's so much to learn from them. And I meet the women and the men and their families, and I can't begin to tell you the joy that it does bring a person. And if it's something that anybody has ever been interested in, please pursue it. You will get back more than what you think you are giving. And I have, over the last decade, I have developed relationships with so many wonderful people. They've actually become my grandparents and my parents. and really to go through their joys and sorrows. It truly is a blessing for me.
Yeah. Well, that sounds so cool, Mary. I know in the past, I've told many of my students and athletes and, family members and just anybody else who would listen, I guess. I've told them, I said, listen, you don't have to feel down. You don't have to feel beaten or depressed. I said, when you feel yourself starting to feel like that, go help somebody, kind of get your mind off yourself. So you go help somebody and you're going to get way more out of it than you're given, believe it or not. And it doesn't have to be like go help a young kid. I mean, obviously you can go help one of the gatekeepers of wisdom. The elderly, I mean, they're there. They're you get so much from helping people.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. And it even goes beyond that. I think what it brings everybody is this tremendous amount of joy. And I share it with so many other Eucharistic ministers in my parish. I have a wonderful mentor, Sandy, and she's really taught me everything and given me this honor and privilege to serve in this capacity. And there are so many of us that do go out into the community that sometimes it's taken for granted. You don't know that it's there, but it is. And there are many other ministries that my church parish offers. And this is the one that I have just grown to love and plan to continue.
Yeah. Now, Mary, do you always know that at some point you wanted to get into the ministry? Was there like a journey here, or was it like an event that happened that just kind of pointed you the right direction?
Oh, great question. A very dear friend of mine, Rosalie, decided to just sign me up one day. Raising my children, I've also been a CCD teacher, continuing education teacher in the religious venue for 13 years. So I thought I was finished. I could just retire.
You did your share, right?
No way. And I am so grateful for her. She just decided to put my name in one day. And you are then commissioned by the Archdiocese. And you can choose to continue this ministry in other ways. As I mentioned, not only nursing homes, there are also shut-ins. And by a shut-in, I mean people that truly are not able to leave their homes. And they do look to our church parish to send somebody. The priests can't be everywhere 24/7. And this is where the lay people come in.
Yeah. I mean, for somebody like me, I'm sure there's got to be other people out there that think about it once in a while, but life just seems to be so busy, and it's kind of like always stays on the back burner. Would love to be more involved, with the church or helping youth, or through the church or through the ministry. How do you go about taking that first step for like a normal, everyday person that considers it once in a while, but always seems to get too busy?
You know what? Just start small. Just visit your local church. Start there. Start talking to other Eucharistic ministers. Talk to your parish priest, and then actually shadow a Eucharistic minister. You don't have to agree to do anything. Just start shadowing, and you'll realize what a valuable experience you may be gaining. And it's different for people that we do this on a volunteer basis, and people visit nursing homes different parts of the day. So it may work for some, it may not work for others.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So we can all see how becoming a Eucharistic minister has enhanced your life. Right? There's no doubt about it. But has it also enhanced your writing, or did it somehow encourage you to go into writing? Like, what effects did it have on your writing and like your authorship?
What a great question. As an author, I gather notes, and I keep a notebook of ideas and characters. And my first published novel, Tigers Love Bubble Bats and Obsession Perfume, Who Knew, it transcends 3 genres: mystery, romance, and a spiritual twist. Now, just to go back to the spirituality part of it, I consider myself an author that begins with a quirky title. So I began with this quirky title. Now, how do you develop a story around that?
Yeah.
And
Can I back up 1 second?
Yes.
So you developed this quirky title, and this title is pretty quirky. Do you mind repeating it again for all of our Mindalia audience?
I would love to, Tan. Tigers love bubble baths and obsession perfume. Who knew? Which is absolutely true. And I'll get to that after I leave the spirituality part. But part of the writing aspect I did receive from this spirituality part and the nursing home, because it is part of my story and the elderly.
Okay. So did I just hear you say that like your spirituality or maybe an inner voice kind of nudged you along or helped guide you a little bit to maybe moving forward with this project of writing?
Yes, well, I've been writing for over a decade, and I've written in many genres. And as authors, we know we'll write, we'll submit, you have one rejection after another, and you're constantly dealing with that. But as part of your life experience, so comes your writing. And from my Eucharistic ministry, I did have an idea for tigers. I'll just shorten it instead of saying it completely with the long name. There is an aspect to my story that has wishes. And that truly did come from visiting one of the nursing homes.
Okay.
And what happened was I walked in one day and I saw this incredible poster that said, "We are granting wishes once a month. Tell us what your wish would be or what you would like to wish." And my first thought as a writer, author was, wow, what if you asked for something so truly unrealistic and it actually came true? So
certainly is a good way to test it.
Yeah.
You know, and test the theory, but I believe that we should all be wishing for things. I mean, as kids, we didn't seem to have too much trouble wishing for things, but as we grew older, life had a way to dampen our dreams or our wishes, jade us sometimes. So when I hear this title that you got and you're talking about wishes, it's kind of almost stirring the kid inside of me again, like the hope or maybe the faith. This is pretty cool stuff, Mary.
Well, thank you so much. It sounds like you read my book from the way you just described it. So.
Good stuff.
But the wishes and dreams part never ends. It's part of life's progression and until the very end. So that's where part of my working with the elderly has contributed to my writing.
I like it. I love how you said to the very end.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It should never end, because I guess when it does end, I think maybe you age out quickly when it does end. When you don't have those wishes, those dreams, those wants, or the desire, that lust for life, or trying to maybe create just better little circles around you and your loved ones. If you're not doing that stuff, then I think maybe life does lose its, luster, and it's sad. It's sad. So I'm really happy that you wrote a book like that to kind of remind us of that. Now, I don't want to go off on a tangent too much, but I get this question I've been dying to ask you.
Okay.
Probably about 20 years ago, I read this book called Conversations with God. I don't know how familiar you are with it. It's one of millions and millions of books out there. But I enjoyed reading the book. And when I was reading the book, the gentleman that wrote the book, he kept saying that he didn't even know what he was writing. He just put the pen on the paper and he just wrote. And he said he really felt like God was just kind of speaking through him. And he didn't know what the next sentence was going to be, what the next paragraph was going to be. Sometimes he didn't even know what the next word was going to be. But it just flowed, and it flowed out so easily and so quickly that he was like, there had to be something more to it. it couldn't have been just me writing that book. I believe it was probably God, maybe talking through me and the pen and the paper. And he came up with this pretty cool book, and, maybe like 20, 30 years ago, whatever it was, called Conversations with God. I mean, are you familiar with that book or that process?
I'm familiar with that book and many more. And I truly believe there is, as I have in my story, I write about divine intervention. It's just weaved through my story. And I truly believe that there is a higher power and this divine intervention that will lead people to the path they need to be on. Oh, I think I lost you there for a second. But
Yeah,
we're
no,
back.
I heard everything that you said.
Great.
And I agree with you. I mean, I know maybe I'm kind of leaping a little bit here, but I think that divine intervention's in all of our lives.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes we just don't look in the right places for it. Now, here's just a quick example. And maybe I'm reaching a little bit, but maybe I'm not. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was a 2-time junior Olympian wrestler. And then I got married and started having kids.
Yes.
And I gave up coaching football when my oldest daughter was born, then gave up coaching wrestling when my son was born. And then another 15 years passed of me being just like a dad with 5 kids, hustling, working multiple jobs, just trying to survive, just trying to put food on the table and all that. And then my son gets in high school and he says, "Hey, Dad, I think I want to wrestle." And I go, "Are you sure about that?" And he goes, "Yes." He goes, I think I want to wrestle. So I said, "All right, well, you sign up for the team the Monday after Thanksgiving, right?" So he signs up for the team. I'm thinking he's going to quit, because it's hard. Wrestling's very hard. I'm a father in the stands watching, for the 3 months. And then near the end of the 3 months, him and a bunch of his teammates come and ask me to be their coach the next season. So now here we are the next season, and I'm one of their assistant coaches. So, I mean, I had no intention of jumping back in that realm and re-offering that gift that I have of wrestling to today's youth. I was just trying to put food on the table for my family. And I gave up wrestling because of my son so that I could be there for him and do the things as a father that I got to do for him. And yet all these years later, he yanks me back in to something that I have a talent and a gift that I could share with others. So I don't know, maybe that's divine intervention. I don't know if I'm reaching or not, but maybe it is.
I truly believe there are different terms for it. Coincidence, God's coincidences, just divine intervention. Things happen for a reason. And I truly believe that. I always say to my own children, things are already written in the stars for you. You're just not at that point in time yet. But there's a plan for each one of us.
Yeah. So I think every one of us has been blessed. And so many times we forget to count our blessings. I always say, maybe do the Franklin T-bar graph, because I'm also a history teacher along with a special education teacher. And the Franklin T-bar graph was Benjamin Franklin would create this little T-bar graph where he'd put the negatives on one side, the positives on the other, pros and cons, however you want to do it. And if you do that, I mean, quite frequently you'll see that the pros tend to outweigh the negatives. And I think that we don't do that enough. Now, I wasn't thinking before, let's say 2 minutes ago, I wasn't thinking that maybe my son and divine intervention brought me back to the sport of wrestling where I have a gift to offer. But I mean, for the normal people out there that are just, trying to put food on the table, that are struggling from job to job, maybe working multiple jobs or trying to get out but exhausted, just doing all the things they got to do to survive. And maybe they're thinking life is too hard and that they don't have enough blessings and that divine intervention, where is that in their lives? I mean, what kind of advice do we give these people to say, slow down, smell the roses, look around, and maybe you will find some? How do we go about that?
How do we go about that? I would say start with the little prayer,
Good idea.
And whether you're spiritual or not, take a look into nature. You need a little break. Just go out there, walk around nature, and you'll start seeing the most incredible things. Look at your children, look at your family. And I think if we just throw out a little gratitude, more comes back. But put on a little smile and just be grateful for what you have and appreciate it. And nothing in life is easy. As you just went through everything, people are struggling. But sometimes just saying a little prayer will help.
Yeah, I think you're so right. And I think that's something I need to do more of. I think a lot of us need to do more of that. Maybe just, it's not that hard to do. Could only, maybe a few seconds a day it takes to say a little prayer. But I got to tell you today, Mary, I brought my wife and 5 children to the movies to watch Jumanji 2. And we
Yes.
were at this nice movie theater with like the lounge chairs that kick back and the feet come up. You know what I'm saying? And we're sitting there eating our popcorn. And this particular aisle we were in, or this row we were in, it was 7 seats across. So a small movie theater, right, with big chairs. And it fit my family perfect. So I'm sitting there eating the popcorn, right?
Yeah.
And I'm looking down the aisle or down the row. And my family is filling every single seat in the row. And I just thought, what a lucky man I am. You know what I'm saying? This is like a school day. It's a
Yep.
Monday, a work day. I'm like, I could be off working one of my multiple jobs, but I'm just sitting here in the movie theater, eating popcorn, looking down at my wife and my 5 kids, 5 healthy
Yes.
kids.
Great
And
day.
we're taking up the whole row, and I'm like, I'm a lucky man. I
Yes.
really am. So that was just one of those things where I just counted my blessings for just a moment. And I don't know, it wasn't like I scheduled it on my phone, like to do it. My phone would beep. I'd say, oh, yeah, count your blessings. It wasn't that. It was just a random thing.
Yeah.
But for those few moments, Mary, I felt a lot better about
Right.
everything.
And actually, you're probably dealing with aggravation getting there too. So
Yeah. And then the movies runs me $100 now. I'm like, oh,
exactly.
that's crazy. $100 to go to the
Yeah.
movies. Jeez, who can afford that? But I mean, whatever. We were there. We were enjoying the day. Tell you the truth, we actually had free movie tickets, so that made it a lot easier to go. But
Wonderful.
I guess I was counting my blessings, and that made me more, put me in a better place. Maybe
Yes.
more, let's say, willing to maybe help somebody else. When I was walking, when we were leaving, like I bent down, picked up, somebody had like dropped like a dirty napkin or something on the floor. So I picked it up. And when I walked by the trash can, I just put it in the trash can. I'm not trying to say I was being a good Samaritan, but I was probably just in a better place because I was counting my blessings. And when I was
Mhm.
counting my blessings, I was more willing to go
Yes.
the extra mile to help other people, help the environment, help whatever. You're just in a better place, I think, when you count your blessings. And
Exactly.
it seems like you're in a place where you could do that frequently, Mary, through being a Eucharist minister and being an award-winning author and a speaker and a bunch of the other great things you're doing. So, and speaking of the great things you're doing, is there anything we haven't covered yet on some of the things you're doing, and then some of the things you want to be doing?
Yes, would it be possible? I would love to mention where the title of Tigers Love Bubble Baths and Obsession Perfume comes from. Several years ago, I visited a big cat reserve in Florida. And at this big cat reserve was actually a tiger who jumped in this bubble bath and had Obsession perfume sprayed on it. It is not something I made up. It's one of those things I jotted down and said, there's a book that I'm
You
going to
you
write
saw
around
it.
this title,
Yeah.
because it was so awe-inspiring to see the 600-pound Siberian tiger be in a bubble bath as though he was a child, and to
Mm,
have the Obsession perfume sprayed on it.
yeah.
So it was
And,
quite
and
amazing.
And I love how vigilant you were about that. You were like, wow, this doesn't happen every day. I'm jotting this down. I carry like a little notebook and a little pen with
Yes.
me so I can jot down things when things strike me or I see something. So you were so vigilant and you were on top of that, like this doesn't happen every day. And you wrote that down. You're like, this is going to be something. I love that awareness that you have, Mary. That's really cool.
Thank you. I think it's present in all of us. If you're a writer, if you're an author, write it down. You forget it. It's the same thing where they say if you have a dream and it's something very vital to you, write it down. You'll remember it. And to go back to your other question, where do I see myself? I plan on continuing to write for the young adult market, for the market that I've written in now, adult mystery, adult novels, and to continue to just come up with ideas that I can present to different marketplaces, Christian marketplace, romance, people that love mysteries, and anybody that's interested in something with a divine hand of intervention.
So as long as you carry your pen and your paper with you, I
Yes.
think you'll be jotting down a lot of things.
Yeah.
Mary. So how does the Christian and romance novels intermingle, or is that something you kind of keep separate as in different genres?
Well, the genre is called cozy. So my book is termed a cozy mystery romance with a spiritual twist. And what cozy means is you don't have graphic violence and graphic sex. It's more wholesome. It really is maybe a little bit more old-fashioned, but there's definitely a market for that and growing by the day.
Yeah. Mary, I love it that you said that. You know, the old-fashioned, who cares? My books are the same way. You know, a lot of people have come to me and they've been like, thank God, like you don't have like bad language and sexual scenes in your books. It's so refreshing to come across a book that doesn't have that. And I know people say that stuff sells, but I don't care. I don't really think that we need to use that stuff to maybe cheapen ourselves just to sell.
And as you say, old-fashioned doesn't mean that it's old-fashioned. Maybe we're leaving it to the imagination. So,
yeah, there you go. And what's better than that?
Right.
Exactly. So anyways, Mary, I know we got to wrap up, and Myrna's going to be coming back on in a second. So any last words of wisdom you want to leave with our Mindalia audience before Myrna comes back on?
Well, I want to thank you again, Dan, and Myrna and Mindalia TV for giving me this opportunity. And may I show my book, Tigers Love, Bubble Baths, and Obsession Perfume, who knew? You can, I would love if you visited my website, www.maryk, that's the initial K, Savarese.com. And from there, you can visit my Twitter, my Instagram, my Facebook. And I would love to hear from you. And I thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity. What a great day this has been for me.
It was great.
And a blessing.
Yeah, it was definitely a blessing. And no doubt about you have so much to share, Mary. And I look forward to speaking with you more. Like I said, I know Myrna needs to get back on and close us out. So Myrna, welcome back. I know you're out there somewhere. You with us, Myrna?
Me? Okay, I'm right here.
There we are. There you are, Myrna.
Yes, I was hiding. Thank you for allowing us for being a channel to your ideas. And Dan Blanchard, where can our audience find you before we leave? Tell us.
Well, they can find me at danblanchard.net or granddaddy6.com or any of the social media channels, pretty much on all of them. Amazon, check me out. And of course, Mindalia TV. Check me out.
Yay! Mindalia TV. Woo!
Well, again, thank you. And to those watching, remember that Mindalia.com is an international nonprofit organization and that you can collaborate with us just by liking this video, subscribing to our channel, leaving us a positive comment, or sharing this with someone that you think that may like what we've been discussing here today. Nothing else to say by now, just goodbye and until next time. Hope you have a great day. See you soon.
Thank you.